Yo, what's good, everybody? Joey J. Ping checking in live, man. RespectMyRegion.com. We're here today on episode 5 of the New York Cannabis Podcast. Today's episode brought to you guys by Trees. Trees is the premier cannabis ERP software for the industry. They specifically help retailers grow their revenue. We've got a very special guest today. We've got Hawaii Mike representing Chef for Hire. And we also have his gatita making a special appearance because he or she is absolutely beautiful. How you doing, Mike? Welcome to the show.
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me here, Joey.
No worries, brother. What perfect timing, right? Who's our guest today? Who's our special guest? Who do we have, Mike?
This is my man, Lux.
Lux.
Yeah.
Lux, you are beautiful, man. Lux, is it a boy? Is it a girl?
Boy.
What are you rocking with?
He's a boy. Yeah, just like...
Your boy didn't want to let you get all the shine on today's episode, man, and that's okay. It's okay. Well, Mike, thank you again for being a guest. It was a pleasure to have met you over the summer when I was out there rocking with Trees. You and I linked up in person at Flower Power Dispensers in Lincoln Square. Is that correct?
Yes, I guess I don't know what it's called exactly, but yeah, it's like 66th Street in CPW.
Yeah, 66. It's right across the street from the NBC building there, whatever it is. Yep. Dude said that they got billionaires come down there into that store, which is crazy to think about. But man, today's all about New York cannabis, Mike. Tell me, let's talk about your brand. Let's talk about you today. We're going to talk a little bit about the culture, what you guys are rocking with, what you're working on. A lot has changed since we last saw each other in August. A lot has changed for you. You've been growing. You've been doing your thing. You created the category. And so, before we dive in, who are you? What is Chef for Hire? Just lay it on the people. Let's just keep it real. What you got? What do you guys do?
Yep. My name is Hawaii Mike. I am the co-founder of Chef for Hire. We are the first culinary brand in New York's legal market. We wanted to kind of separate ourselves and, do something a little bit different, but it's also kind of what we've been doing and building for the past, a little over 10 years now.
Wow.
We started really as a supper club. We were doing infused dinners that we did monthly. It was very underground, and it was our way of kind of showcasing and sharing that, food is probably one of the most unique and best and easiest ways to incorporate cannabinoids into your diet, into your lifestyle, which is basically through diet because you eat every day. And so we wanted to be, again, if you can't be first to the market, you create your own category. And so that's basically what we did. So we have honey, we got extra virgin olive oil, we have coconut oil, and we have clarified butter. So we have ghee. Yeah.
The honey wasn't around the last time I saw you.
Oh, yeah, sure it was. Yeah, it was around. Yeah, those were all, I think, pretty sure all of those were around. Maybe not the ghee. I think that was the last one we came into the market. But yeah, again, like back in 2000 BC, nobody was going to the bodega buying a Dutch and rolling up, right? So we believe people were consuming, orally and in eating it, and incorporating it different ways like that. So, we're kind of taking it back to the essence. And, again, like I love to smoke, but nobody has to smoke for their health, right? It's not like, hey, man, this is killing me right now. I gotta, so it's like food, I think, will be the future. And we also feel like it's probably one of the most versatile products in the market, right? From dosage, right? You can go like an eighth of a teaspoon is 1.25 milligrams, or a tablespoon is 30 milligrams. You can just take a spoonful of honey and it's prebiotic and has all kinds of health benefits for you. You can cook with it. You could drizzle it on your food. So there's a bunch of different ways you can consume this product. And we want to give people an understanding that we believe your relationship with cannabis is your relationship. It's a symbiotic relationship that you have. How it affects you, how cannabinoids, how terpenes, and really how you even metabolize things. We're all different in that way. And we want people to go into this with that understanding and then really develop a deeper understanding of how they respond to different cannabinoids, terpenes, and everything else. So
day one as a bud tender, this was 2016. I just fresh after working at Microsoft. I'm sleeping on the floor of my studio. I'm basically homeless. I'm jobless. I'm on unemployment in Seattle in 2016 at this time, and I can go all the way back to the very first meeting in education we had from this the director of culture from this other dispensary chain, right, that we hired to teach us stuff, and I'll never forget it. The number one thing she said that we have to live by as bud tenders is everyone is different.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is different. I suffer from the things I suffer with. I deal with it. Maybe I don't suffer from anything, but today I'm just dehydrated. Right, Mike? Smoking, let's say this for everybody, Mike. Smoking is not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's just not. It restricts blood flow. It decreases the size of, I think, of your veins or blood vessels or whatever it is. It is not good for most things. Now, does it have benefits?
It messes up your oral health as well, right?
The mouth,
your gums,
the teeth, all of that. There's a lot to consider when smoking. However, there's a lot of positives to do that with as well. But I always said this. When I got certified as a medical marijuana, I forget what the technical term, but a cannabis consultant, medically certified cannabis consultant. And they always said, ask questions. Figure out what's really going on, because smoking is going to be more of like an outwards attack. Topicals are from the outside of your body. But sometimes you're going to really want things to attack from the inside of your body, right?
Yeah.
And so we look at these products that you've created: honey, butter, oil, 2 types of oil, olive oil, coconut oil. They all have different use cases. Can you talk to me about the problem and solution that you created, or that you helped solve, or that you identified and helped solve with each of these items? Because you were the creator of that category in the entire state of New York.
Yeah. So, I think the beauty is that all of these products are superfoods on their own, right? They all have natural health benefits and have been used for thousands of years for different reasons, right? Take honey, for instance. It's nature's first Band-Aid, right? That actually helps heal wounds. It's prebiotic. It helps with digestion. It's a better sweetener than sugar, especially if you're pre-diabetic or diabetic. It's soothing. They say now it's even better than most over-the-counter cough medicines to help cough suppressant, right?
It also helps with the allergies, because the different bees with the pollen and the regional science of all of that habitat. I don't know the biography. I don't know.
Well, so speaking of that, we use honey from the Adirondacks, right? So each state we go to will always use in-state honey for that exact reason.
And you're not required to do that, right? No. You could use gelatin from Mexico cows, or you could do American cows for the beef gelatin, right?
Yeah, as long as it passes testing, you can use it, right? Wow. But we purposely want to use the honey from in-state for those reasons, because a lot of people have allergies, right? And it helps when those bees are pollinating the flowers in these regions. It helps to decrease those effects, right? So that's even before we add the THC to it. Right? Take olive oil, for instance. Think about, Greece. It's a blue zone. They literally drink olive oil out there, right?
Wow.
And it helps with your brain health, right? And memory function and all kinds of different things. It helps with your skin your skin, and as well as your hair, right? So vitamin E and vitamin K. It's organic, so that works very well. Coconut oil. It's a great vegan replacement for butter. It's high in bioavailability, so you get that feeling really fast. We talked about smoking and oral health. Think about oil pulling, right? So you can do oil pulling with coconut oil. That's a huge trend in TikTok.
That's for the teeth. That's a trend for the teeth, right now.
And yeah, so it's for your teeth. It cleans your teeth. Some people say, and again, these aren't scientific based facts because they haven't been tested, but people do say it helps clean your teeth. It strengthens your gums. Right, it helps to fight things like gingivitis. Other people have said it helps fight cavities and fix your cavities. But think about now, if we infuse that coconut oil with THC, you're doing oil pulling with it, right? That's getting through your salivary glands. You're doing that for 15, 20 minutes. Now you're getting a nice high, right? So not only are you cleaning and cleansing your oral health, but you're also getting the effects of the THC through your salivary glands.
Yeah. Right? There's an opportunity there for it to be a delivery method for THC or other cannabinoids to get in your body there, just like any other sublingual, right? It's also got some functional capabilities for these non-scientifically proven trends that we see on TikTok. Yep. Guys, don't follow every trend on TikTok, but sometimes it's worth investigating. All right.
And then ghee. Right? Ghee, the reason we chose ghee over traditional butter, right? The main reason is it's what we always cooked with. And when we used to travel, you can't always refrigerate. So we didn't want things to go rancid, get bad. Ghee does not need refrigeration. This product lasts in good temperature, like as long as it's not super hot temperatures, this product will last for 2 years. Right?
Wow.
So,
I don't know. Respectfully, Mike, I
yep,
don't. I mean, and I cook, and I'm American. Look at me, man. I'm as American and white boy as they can get sometimes here on the West Coast. You know what I'm saying?
yep.
But I don't know anything about ghee. What is the difference between ghee and the unsalted Land O'Lakes butter that I got in the fridge?
So it's clarified butter. So the same as you would get, like, it's just cooked a little bit longer than your clarified butter that you get, like with a lobster, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might get that clarified butter. So basically what happens is you take out the milk solids and the water, right? That's by cooking it down like that. And so what that does is now gives you almost just an oil in a sense, right? It's still a little bit more
You want to say viscous?
Viscous, yes, more viscous, right? So it's thicker, but it has a lower melting point in the heat. So, but it also now you can cook at a higher temperature.
Yeah, because the regular butter and the different oils, they have these different burning points, right?
Yeah.
And that definitely impacts flavor.
Yeah, but oil is butter is gonna burn really fast. It's gonna smoke really fast. That's why you never just.
It gets all dark as soon as if you take too long, you put the butter in, and all of a sudden your pan heats up too hot. Before you put the eggs in there, it automatically burns your butter, right?
So those are the milk solids that are burning.
Wow. Okay.
And then as soon as it hits the heat, right, that's when you see the steam come up. That's the water evaporating.
Oh.
So this takes all of that out. Now you have a shelf-stable product. You also have, even though on our packaging we have to say it contains milk, it actually is lactose-free.
Wow.
Right? So there's
just because it came from that product, we have to list it, right?
Yeah, you have to list it because if there's any allergen and somebody's very sensitive, you have to list that. But if you're lactose intolerant, this is the product for you.
Wow.
Right? If you want to use butter, right?
Crazy to think about because there are so many people that are lactose intolerant, but there are. I mean, Mike, we were talking offline about your gummies making a comeback, which we'll circle back to that. But I'm sure because you went the gummy route and you were like, I don't want to do the same thing everybody else does.
Yep.
There aren't lactose-free products there. All that chocolate is for the most part using some form of milk ingredients to create it one way or the other. And chocolate's not even the biggest category. That's a small category in the edible space. But there aren't a lot of lactose-free or dairy-free products. So this is incredible.
On the chocolate side, there's some people that do make vegan chocolates. You can find those for sure. But yeah, a lot of the chocolate is milk chocolate for sure on that side. Yeah.
That's what I eat too. So of course, that's probably what my brain is picking up naturally is give me that sweet, creamy, good stuff. You know what I'm saying, Mike? Yep. So honey, unique, region specific, local bees. You could get bees from whatever country or state you want. You go with New York. That's New York culture. We love supporting local farmers. That's incredible. Yeah. We talk about the ghee. Is the original butter from that? Is that also too coming from local farms there in New York?
No, we went to Iowa to get this, right?
Okay.
We're more farm country, you know what I'm saying? Like we're not really known for cows and things like that and milk and dairy here. Yes, in small farms for sure. But in order to get it on a larger scale, we went to another state for that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, our coconut oil is sourced from the Philippines because I'm actually from the Philippines, so I thought that would be a kind of cool story.
Hell yeah!
My father was born and raised in the Philippines, and then our olive oil we source from Tunisia.
Okay, I don't know. I know that olive oil has varying levels of, we'll just say, hype or clout to it, right? Like it's like champagne in France, right? Kind of thing. I know the world of olives is unique. Why Tunisia? How did that play a role when you've got these personal ties to the other places?
So there's like, it's harder and a lot more expensive to get it from Italy, right? And Greece, it's, I forget what the exact reason was. I think it was like more of an import-export thing that we had an issue with there. So when I was speaking to the people we get our oils from, it was just Tunisia has some really good and they rank really high. They're like top 3, 4 of the spaces where you get olive oil from. So that's the reason with it. Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Where I come from in Washington, off there in the Seattle area, we've got some really good wine country that people don't know of because they just think of all the different stuff in Europe and these other regions. But little do they know, some other places can be good at stuff too that they don't know about. People get better at things, Tom, especially in this farming realm, especially when it comes to agriculture. You know, if once they start tapping into the science and tapping into the nutrition program of their plants or their food, whatever it is that they're growing, things can really take on their own unique. They call it a terroir in cannabis, right? That unique region of flower and the atmosphere there, and wind or air pressure, water thing, cold, and how the time flow. It's so unique, and that's what makes things different everywhere, right, Mike? And I want to talk a little bit about your background. Your brand is called Chef for Hire. You were doing supper club style, these secret, dinner events, which is so cool because New York has such a history of doing these speakeasy styled experiences. We talk about prohibition and just the history overall of New York, the diversity, the impact that it's had on shaping American society. Talk about what shaped you, Mike. Where's your family from? We got some different ethnicities maybe here going on here. You mentioned that you're fasting right now as well, so you're a pretty unique, diverse, multicultural individual. Let's chat a little bit about that, Mike. Who is Hawaii Mike?
Yeah, for sure. So on my father's side, my grandfather's from Bethlehem. He's from Palestine.
Okay.
So my last name is Salman, Arabic from that side. I'm actually doing Ramadan. I'm not Muslim, but I'm doing Ramadan right now. I've been doing it for the past few years. And just more on discipline, more on, developing gratitude, giving time to just slow down and give thanks just for life in general. And then my father, he left Bethlehem during Nakba, right? And ended up in the Philippines. And married a Filipino and Spanish woman there. My father and all of his family on that side was born in the Philippines. And then my mother side, my grandfather is like Cherokee and I think Scottish or something. And then he was in the military, maybe potentially CIA, we don't know, and went to Brazil and married a Brazilian woman there. So my mother was born in Brazil. So pretty, wide range. And, the interesting thing is, there's been conflict or colonization in all of the places that I've been from and that my lineage is from. So it's been kind of an interesting story. And for us, it's become this unity thing for me. I found my purpose in life is to create spaces where people feel safe to be their authentic self, whether virtual or physical.
Yep.
And it's right now, especially in this moment we're in history, it's like unity is so necessary, right?
Yeah.
We need to stop seeing each other, but seeing ourselves in one another, right? And then start to, from there, be able to celebrate our differences, but acknowledge how much alike we actually are. And
Absolutely.
It's really our eyes that lie to us, right? We're really energy beings, right? They say energy never dies. And I believe that's our true connection. That's where our soul, our spirit is really, it's energy. And so even when we started the supper clubs, it was about that. It was creating a container where everybody felt safe and trusted us, right? And not only trusted us, but trusted being around everybody else. We wanted everybody to feel as if it was family. And that's why we called it a supper club, because supper, for the most part, is like very familial with people you love, you care about, and you're able to exchange, conversation, information, ideas, and whatnot. And we wanted that to be a vessel that we help people and they feel safe in. So we wanted people to be able to explore your effect and how you participate with this plant. And we thought food, because everybody eats, was an incredible language to share that. So, that's really how I kind of got here. And to wind it back a little bit, like both of my parents were heavy into smoking. My father, I started selling weed, so I was taking weed from my father. And
that was my next question is, when did weed come into all of this for your pops and for you? Because it's not like the Philippines is known for cannabis the way Thailand is, or known for it the way that Humboldt is, or whatever, right? Like, where did weed come into all this? Because what did your dad tell you? How did he get introduced to it? Because you're taking it from him, then you start selling it. Like, how does that all come about?
Well, both of my parents were musicians, so he was into music, and he was on the radio station at the naval base at Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines, and my grandfather was in the Air Force, and that's how they got to the Philippines. Like, my mother was actually raised in Southeast Asia a bunch, as well as Africa, like 9 different countries in Africa, and then ended up in the Philippines. And that's where my parents met, and they moved to San Francisco.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So I was born in San Francisco. My mother smoked while I was in the womb. So my introduction was then, you know what I'm saying? Like, before I even got out of the womb, I was already smoking.
And you had cannabinoids in you the same way you had nutrients in you.
Exactly. you know, my dad told me, actually, my mom told me too, she dropped acid like 2 days after I was born. So, like, you know,
Let's go
psychedelics, yeah,
celebrate.
right. Like, you know, so she was very into that and holistic medicine and psychedelics and just, it was really there. Like, you know, I got in trouble when I smoked outside of my house. You know, my dad was like, yo, if you guys are going to smoke, bring your friends here, smoke here. Then you guys can go outside, but leave all the weed at the house. Don't get in trouble. Like, you know, because we're in a cool city, but it's still like the powers that be. It's not, you know.
And back then, I mean, I don't know exactly how old you are, but I know that generally the generations either slightly before me or even like the 10 years, the 15 to 20, y'all were getting in trouble for skipping school. Y'all were getting in trouble for these laws that are now they just kind of warn the parents in some capacities, right? Depending on
Yeah.
what you look like and how rude you are, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm
So,
51, 52 later this year.
yep.
So definitely.
You fit right into the they was trying to bust people's asses for
Oh,
sure.
for sure. You know, and also I was coming of age during the crack epidemic. So, you know, it was anything that they could see that could lead to something else. They would stop you, frisk you. Like it was, you know, in San Francisco, police were never the nicest. You know, I definitely caught a couple of billy clubs to the ribs for doing some things. So it was, you know, it was interesting. But again, like I think everything leads to, you know, who you are and who you become. So as I reflect, I'm like, I always give thanks to my parents for, you know, putting me in that position to do what I'm doing now. You know,
Yeah.
like I was on,
Letting you be you and find out your authentic self and providing a safe space for that.
yeah, but also, I mean, they really would tell us like, you know, this plan is good for you. You know, this plan. So I never looked at it as like we shouldn't be doing this. I looked at it as why can't we do this? You
Yeah.
know, what if we were allowed to do this? And you know, like so, my dad always supplemented, you know, his lifestyle because you know, as a musician, you're a struggling musician, right? And supplemented his lifestyle selling weed. And so I used to just kind of pinch his weed. And later on, you know, I found out he was purchasing weed. His dealer was Dennis Perone. Like so, you know, the guy who basically started, you know, 215 in California. You know, so we
That's
had
huge.
to
So it's like just connected all the way back to the OGs and some of the foundational people here.
yeah, like you know, he always asked me like, you don't remember him? Like I used to go there, it used to be on my shoulders, and I was like, Dad, if I was on your shoulders, I don't remember that shit. Like, you know, but yeah, so that was always there. So again, like I felt it was like always my path to be with this plant. Like even when I
Yeah.
moved to New York, I got to New York because I was selling weed at a music convention in San Francisco and got offered an internship. You know, like and moved out here 4 months after I was offered that internship and been here since, and then sold weed throughout the music
Wow. How old
industry.
were you when that happened?
Bro, I turned 19 a month after I moved out here.
Holy cow. So you've
And I
been
moved,
out there for 30 plus years now.
yeah, it's 32 years. Or
Wow,
yeah,
that's incredible.
yeah, 33 years this year.
What's your favorite thing about living in New York, those 33 years? When you think about it, what's the fastest thing that comes to mind? And if it's a long thing, we can go into that. But if, what's the thing that just really, really keeps you there where you can't think about leaving?
The energy and access, man. It's just like we have access to everything here. You know, New York's basically the capital of the world, right? Like we have everything. Like what do you need? You need a wife? What ethnicity? You need a gun? What caliber? You want some rocket launchers? We got that for you too. What drug do you want? We got everything. Like it's all here. Like so it's you know the access, the energy, just the constant motion and opportunity through that. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. It's expensive as hell. It can definitely get cold and feel lonely a lot of the times, even though it's like the most densely populated city. But there's you know there's you know give and take with everywhere. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. What an honest answer there. I love that. I appreciate you sharing that. There's a lot that goes into why someone would stay there. There's a lot that goes into your upbringing. There's a lot that goes into this cannabis journey for you as well. And it's cool to see that Chef for Hire is really about you being a chef with this higher purpose, right?
Yep.
And it's a double meaning too because you are getting people higher.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the double entendre is awesome because in the
Yeah.
beginning, like we've done contracts with people and they'll change it. And even though my logo is
Mhm.
right there, they'll still spell it HIRE,
Yeah.
right?
What is
So
what is the infusion process for these liquid foods that
mhm.
these oils, this honey? Um, How do you infuse that? Is it just you just mixing it into a big mixing bowl? Walk me
Yeah.
through that. What does that look like?
I mean, yeah, basically. So, I mean, we started doing what everybody did, right? It was flour, it was ground flour and, just trying to figure out. But then we didn't have testing, doing this in 2011, 2012, 13, we didn't have testing. So we're just kind of like figuring it out, throwing stuff in. Once we got to kind of extracts, BHO started coming around. Then, we had a little bit more of a semblance, kind of what we were doing and around, what testing kind of looked like at that point. Shout out to my man Brad from 710 Labs. We were getting stuff from them in their very beginning. And, that's what we were working with. And, the slabs back then weren't as pretty as they are now.
Right.
And we were using bubble hash and just kind of figuring out what it was. But at the end of the day, our products are really tinctures, And a tincture is just basically, inserting cannabinoids into a carrier, right? Into a very simple carrier. And so the oils are simple.
It kind of started with MCT and then coconut oil came around.
No, it started with coconut oil first, and then started doing MCT oil because it's more fractionated, right? And it's better, it's easier to keep at it's liquefied already, right? Whereas coconut oil, especially if you're using an unrefined coconut oil or raw coconut,
it hardens up.
Yeah, it has a higher melting point, right? So that's why if you're in the grocery store, you see them in the bottles, it's straight white. So we used to get calls in the beginning like, yo, it's not coming out, like, and then so we used to tell people like, you just water bath it a little bit, put it under some hot water and then let it, melt out that way. But it's very simply like we are in the tincture category, which is also the reason that we're able to have a higher dosage in a higher number of milligrams in our packaging, right? Yeah. So our bottles are 4-ounce bottles, but they have 240 milligrams in them.
Wow.
Right. So each tablespoon is 30 milligrams. Each teaspoon is 10 milligrams. So one of these bottles contains 24 10 milligram servings, which is your recommended dosage, right, per state law. But you can also go down to, as I mentioned before, 1/8 of a teaspoon, which is 1.25 milligrams. So it's really up to you to control your dosage, right? Maybe in the mornings, I want to have something a little bit lower. At night, I want to have something a little bit higher. So now this is all up to you. You have the power in your hands. And that's why I always say we have some of the most versatile products in the market.
I feel like when I think about the foods that I cook at home, whether it's cooking or baking, I know that's one's umbrellaed by the other, but to separate the two, I feel like I use butter and oil for baking, and I use butter and oil because I cook a lot of breakfast versus dinners. And though it's like, is the recommended dosage there in terms of what you're talking about from like a milligram standpoint of cannabis versus like how much liquid that is? Like, is it like if I were to pour the smoothie in this cap, it's only so much liquid, right? Does the amount of liquid with these recommended doses, does that still go like play effectively in with these things that we cook as Americans? Like when you think about just baking some brownies, is it the same amount of oil roughly that you would use for that? Or is it more? Can we mix regular oil with these? Like how can we, like, I don't really know what I'm asking here.
I think what you're asking is, how do I figure out dosage for myself as an individual?
Because the box of brownies calls for whatever it calls for. You know what I mean? Like,
so basically, it's really mathematics, right? So what we did was cut out the, oh my God, how much is in here and how much should I, or how much can I use, right? So if, say you have a recipe that calls for a 1/4 cup of oil, right? That 1/4 cup would be half of this bottle, right? 2 ounces. Now that would be 120 milligrams, but say I only want 60 milligrams, right, in there. So I would use 1 ounce, 2 tablespoons of infused, right, to make your 60. And then I would use 2 tablespoons of non-infused.
Okay.
Right. So you just mix it. And so that's, again, so it's all mathematics now. That's all you got to figure out. Once you know how many servings you have and how many milligrams you want per serving, you could back right into that.
Again, if the amount of liquid was like for those bottles, if it was in consideration, when you were making this for, the things that are already, where this would already be used for it, right? Breakfast, breads, probably pastas, and then baked goods, a lot of stuff.
It's really like the only thing we say don't do is don't fry with it, right? Not because
Okay.
it's going to burn, but because you're not going to get full absorption. Anytime you fry it, there's something left over. Don't pan sear, right? Because why? You're not going to get full absorption, and there's going to be residuals left in the pan, which means you're going to have THC left in the pan, which you don't want.
So don't waste what you're spending on that.
Right?
Cook. If you're gonna pan sear and do those kind of stuff or fry, still use the regular oil.
Yep.
Where would you recommend that what would you recommend they create, just as like a recipe? Because you are a chef, so what would you have them do with your product to throw in on those things? You know what I'm saying?
All right. So if you're gonna pan sear something, if you want to make a pan sauce after that,
right?
So you use those brown bits, all the flavorants in there. You add you deglaze with some wine, or you deglaze with another liquid. You add a stock to that, right? Get that mixing down. You cook that down, and then you add your butter, right? You can add your ghee. You can add some coconut oil. You can add some olive oil. Whatever you want to do at that point. That's your infusion in there.
And so that's going to be the general game plan and mindset for butter and oil, correct? Or you have the two oils and the butter.
Yep.
Pivot. Yep. Okay, honey. Yep. What about honey and smoothies, breakfast? Just so on top of anything or in anything, it's good to go.
Yep. But you could also
what about heating it up? Is that going to change it at all? Putting it in my tea and like it's going to be a hot one or anything?
Nah, great question though, because this is probably the most fear-based question that I get, right? And it's so misinformed, and like people automatically think that everything, don't cook with it, everything's going to burn away. I'm like, well, if that was the case, how have I cooked for thousands of people and they've all been lit? Or I can overdo it, right? And then people are like, yeah, you can't put it in the oven at 450 degrees. And well, how do people bake brownies then? And you get lit off of it, right? And so there's something that's in our brains that stops us from logic. And I have no clue what it is yet. I'm trying to figure it out. And that's why our goal is to normalize the use of cannabinoids in cooking, right? We want you to cook exactly how you would cook with the same products that you use at home, right? So if you have an extra virgin olive oil, in Greece and in Italy, that's mostly what they cook with. People are like, oh, you can't cook high heat. Well, you have to know how to cook properly. If you overheat it in the beginning, it's going to smoke. Any oil is going to smoke. It has nothing to do with THC in it. And please, if your oil is smoking, do not eat that. Throw it out, right? Because now there's carcinogens in there, right? You don't want to eat that oil. If you cook it long enough, you see the carcinogen, it starts to turn black, right? And you don't want to eat that. So when people are worried about our products getting to a smoking point, they shouldn't worry just about a THC-infused product or a CBD-infused product. They should worry about anything that starts smoking and not use that product. Right? That recipe.
We tend to overcomplicate things when it's new, and cannabis is new from an adult use legal perspective. They might have been smoking for years or maybe whatever it is, but going into a store with people telling you this or that or talking about a certain way, it's new, right? And so then we think about the food elements and these other layers of product categories: food, drink, tinctures, topicals. There's a lot. I always used to call it organized chaos. It's like as a dude, when we walk into this, these makeup stores, or sometimes we go into the mall, it's organized, but it's just so chaotic because there's just so much. It's so stimulating, but it's in those moments when all that stress and stimulation or anxiety can potentially take over and cause us to change from what we normally do. We have to remember our core foundations and the things that we really buy stuff. Don't change how you buy, folks. Spend your money where your passions lie. Spend your money with the businesses that align with you in terms of who they rock with, how they support their community, their core morals and convictions. Right? Do all of those things. Whatever you want to rock with it. But stand by it, and don't switch up when you go into the world of cannabis and think about, oh man, you only need a gummy to sleep. Actually, if you eat salad every night for dinner, this is a great opportunity for you to eat salad and create a light dressing that has the amount of THC that you need for whatever it is.
Yeah, I mean,
think about again for the honey and the smoothies, the butter with the breakfast, all of those things. There's a lot of opportunity here for you guys to integrate these kinds of infused experiences into your life on a day, and it's not that difficult. You were about to say, Mike?
I'll say, think about meal prep, right? How many people do meal prep, right? Or how many people have a specific diet that they kind of follow? It's very easy to incorporate this. And, again, people with smoking, right? You're talking about an hour and a half, 2 hours. You're going to feel the effects, right? You're going to go up, you feel that initial high right away. And then after that, you start to kind of taper off, right? And then
Yep.
you won't smoke again. With edibles, the ones that go through your liver, not nano, with edibles that go through your liver, it goes from delta 9 to delta hydroxy 11, right? Which magnifies the effects, makes it a much more full body effect because now it's hitting your CB2 receptors and it's a more prolonged effect, right? Because it's like 3 to 6 hours. You're going to feel that.
Yeah.
And so for us, it's finding your dosage. And another thing with edibles is people are like, oh, I get 2 smacks. Well, that's because you ate too much. You can dose as little as much as you want. Find your happy medium. And like I was saying, maybe 2.5 milligrams in the morning is where you want to be at. Maybe a little, 5 milligrams in the afternoon and 10 to 20 at night is where you want to be. Now you have the opportunity to do that, again, through your diet, through something you're already doing. And if you want to smoke on top of that and around that, cool, you could do that as well. But why not have that sustained effect throughout the day and keep you balanced?
Sustained, right? And even another layer to that, in addition to that, is targeted. So we go back to things from the outside, things from the inside. Everybody, I've had kidney stones over 15 times in my life. We're talking somewhere pushing 20. I'm pretty nauseous every day since 15 or 16. I remember going to the bathroom so many different times in the first or second period of my classes in high school just to and burp and throw up acid. It was so frustrating. I don't really drink that much. I've had to change my diet. All the complaints and excuses and justifications for all these whatever, right? The point is that when I'm really not feeling well, I ingest things. I drink things. I eat things. Why? I want it to be in my gut. I want it to be I want the THC to go outwards versus coming at something from the outside in. And I know that might sound like, well, why or what? And it's like, well, because there are things that cannabis products, some of these items that was created for cancer patients. And some of the cancer was stomach or urinary tracts or colon or breast, which is stuff inside your body. And although smoking was helpful for some of the targeted effects to help them sustain a better quality of life, more often than not, what helped those people with the severe conditions was things like RSO, was things with a full plant, a full spectrum experience with varieties of cannabinoids, very, very low, if anything, on the sugar glycemic index or whatever it is, and the types of sugar. It was just some very specific things to think about. And so when I'm really on top of my diet and I'm really on top of my insides and my nausea and my stuff, it comes down to, honestly, guys, I drink tea and I put honey in that tea and I do that warm water meets tea experience. And when I have got the right types of honey, I just notice things changing in my body. Then you start eating healthier. You stop using certain types of butters and fats and the wrong types of oils, these lower quality oils from these shitty brands at Walmarts and, dollar stores. And you start really thinking about, again, this stuff you're putting in your body. And it becomes less about the money and more about just making sure that you sustain that higher quality of life. Higher quality of life, man. Chef for hire. Helping you guys get a higher quality of life multiple ways. Higher in terms of weed and stoners if you want it to be for that. Higher quality of life if you're a healthy individual and you're trying to sustain that and continue building good habits. Or creating a higher, we'll call it a higher mindset, a higher space for people. That's going back to that safe space for community, right? A higher experience in that realm. And I think that's really important. You guys, I've got some more questions for y'all. Mike, I've got some more questions for y'all. But for those of you guys watching, I want to do a quick shout out to our sponsor again, Trees, Cannabis ERP software. They power Respect My Region all over the country, man. They help us connect with retailers and brands all over the place to tell their stories and make sure that we're always talking data and always talking about ways for people to make money. Because, Mike, if these cannabis brands, if you guys don't have resources and you guys go away, then people like me that are sick, what are we going to have in New York? Yep. If brands like you go away, I'm going to have a bunch of sugary gummies with a red 40 or blue whatever in it. Like that's the fucking facts. Yeah. And it's frustrating because what about the vegans who can't eat any gelatin? It's great that some of the brands go there and they're the biggest companies in the world recently. But guess what? It's all gelatin for the most part. Then we've got some of the vegan options and things like that. Shout out the pectin users, I'll call it the pectin pushers, just to be funny. And I'm here for that, right? I love all the different edibles and gummy products out there. I love a good, peanut butter cup just like the next. But there's something's got to be said about these cooking ingredients that you're creating. Honey, so great for so many different things. I'm a smoothie guy. I use honey in smoothies and teas all the time. That's my thing. I love coconut oil to cook with it. That's my absolute favorite thing. I like to honestly cook a lot of noodles in that. I like to cook a lot of my little gyozas with my little that right there for me is me using chopsticks. And then it's just, coming from Seattle, you just used to cooking, a variety of things, fish and all that kind of stuff and butter. Right. And so it's just, the really cool opportunity here for everybody to use these products and to get familiar with it. Mike, I want to pivot the conversation a little bit to your retail partners.
Before you do that though, can I just touch on a few things you were at? So part of it is a higher understanding of self and a higher knowledge of cannabinoids, right? And our symbiotic relationship with them. And what you were saying before, I think was real important to touch on, because we're misinforming or partially educating in this market. And my worry is that the way we market right now feels more like the pharmaceutical industry, which we're supposed to be anti, than a holistic approach to helping people understand their relationship with this plant. And so what you were saying before is very important around your stomach, right? And RSO. So RSO is the full spectrum, right? It's that large molecular structure of the plant. Everything is there. So even if you take a little bit, it's still going to get to your liver. It's not going to go through your bloodstream, right? It's still going to get to your liver. And we need that to get that full body high that we were talking about before, to get those true relief effects that you're looking for. Now, the majority of the gummies in this market, or jellies, because the vegan ones should be called jellies, because by trade, a gummy is protein based, which means it's gelatin. A jelly is carbohydrate based, which means it's agar, or pectin, right? And we don't use this terminology. We say things like vegan gummies. So we're misinforming people in how we're talking about it. And I'm talking about it as an industry, not as my company. Yeah. And so the other thing is they're pushing nano and fast acting on everything.
Yeah.
Right? And they're not telling people that that's a different effect. You're going right to your bloodstream with that. So the need you are asking for, you're not going to receive that same relief and them same benefits from a nano enhanced gummy. It's just not going to happen. It's like smoking. Right, you want that.
Smoking's a certain thing. At the nano's a certain way. The liver's a certain way. They're all different. They're not even close. But that's what they're different batch by batch. Let's be honest too.
So they're saying, but they're telling people like, hey, use fast acting. But our bodies create natural fast acting. We don't need nano for edibles. For beverages, it's a different thing because you want it to be water soluble, right?
Yeah.
That's the only way you can really do it. Now, for a gummy or a chocolate or a caramel or even a brownie or even our honey, right? How would you get fast acting without nano? Do you know?
Maybe. Well, just under the tongue. Just put it under the tongue.
Right under your tongue, right?
So if I just ate a Reese's peanut butter cup, and just say it's not nano, it's just regular, right? One of the old school ways of doing it. I could just eat it. Kind of not the whole way and let it chill under my tongue.
Yeah, just keep it under your tongue for a little bit. Take a piece, put that under your tongue for a minute. Let that it'll dissolve. It's milk chocolate.
Yeah, right. You're not wrong. Yeah.
And by the time that dissolves, you're naturally going to create the saliva from it, and you're going to start to swallow that, and then that's going to go through your liver, right?
Yeah, no, that's true.
So now think about any pectin jelly you might eat, right? Why not put that right under your tongue? You don't need fast acting. You'll get it right there.
Yeah.
Same if you do oil pulling with our coconut oil. You're going to, you feel that right away.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to go through those areas and you're going to swallow it slowly.
Yeah. And so that's why, again, all the entendres that we have is for a higher understanding of self. What do I need? It's for a higher knowledge of cannabinoids and our relationship with this plant, period. That's what we wanted people to have, right?
Higher knowledge, baby.
Yep.
So if anybody has any questions, man, make sure you all drop them. I'm happy to respond in the comments later. Let you guys know. hit Mike up and ask any questions as well. We're here for you. Mike, I pulled up your website, chefforhire.com. You've got a cool video here. Do you mind if I play it?
Sure.
Let's go. All right, give me 1 second. Hold on, folks. All right. Okay, so welcome to Chef for Hire, everybody. Here we go. Let's go ahead and bust this down. What do we got? Oh, look at this.
Yeah, this is just a recap from one of our supper clubs.
This is one of the old events. Wow.
Yep.
So you're a chef. You know, you cook things like this, my man?
Yeah, this is all me and my team cooking.
Let's go. Look at that, dude. This is beautiful. And okay, so you're doing drops of the olive oil there.
Yep. But there was also in the dressing, like this was in there. So
there's that honey.
Different ways. Yeah, and sometimes we want people to be able to see it too. So we'll do the drizzles and other things of that nature. But other times we really wanted to go into the recipes.
This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. This photo you have there. You just decided to just say, fuck it. We're going to literally just put honey all over this, like those old Cheerio commercials.
Yeah, people want that visual. They want to see what the product looks like, you know?
Yes, I'm here for it. It looks sick. And then you got the cocoa oil there on the right, the ghee butter there on the left. You got the olive oil with the big, fat, juicy olives there. Then you got your gummies and your jellies because you got to have both. And those ones are already gone. You're going to bring them back around here again soon, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we got to reformulate them. People want effect-based. That's kind of what works more in the market is what we're finding. And, we also want to figure out a different price point. So we want to still deliver that gourmet flavor, texture, especially in our jellies. We use natural fruit in the jellies. And then, we want to give that gourmet appeal, but at a better price point. But then also we want to figure out some other, effect-based products that we can add to it. Because that's just kind of where this market is.
Yeah, man, this is dope. You guys be is this your YouTube channel or someone else's?
This is BK Exotics in Brooklyn, one of our retail partners.
Hawaii Mike's Ultimate Infused Curry Chicken. Rob a BK Exotic. Let's go, man.
Owner of BK Exotic.
Some cool moves.
Yeah,
this is dope. I want to skip ahead to the end. I want to see what you got. What are you chatting about right here? What are we about to see here? This is going to be a good one. Let's see. Oh, yep. I think I saw it. Oh, yep. Some rice. Oh, yeah, that curry chicken. Okay, so
we made some coconut rice.
That sounds like a slap. So here it is. Holy shit. I can see it coming now. Look, he's hyped too. Look at that. Oh my gosh, little extra sauce on the side. Come on, dude. Okay, Mike, I'll be there soon. I'll see you for dinner today. I'll be your co-chef. Man, this looks absolutely incredible. How cool is that, Mike, man? Chef for Hire, you guys are, again, product category creator for New York. I've seen that. I've seen these items in different states. It's not easy. It's a tough space to be in. It's a newer industry, newer products. I encourage everybody to reach out to support. You need one of these in your house. Get it as a gift for other people. 420 is coming up. Make sure all your baked goods all month long could be infused. You know what they say, right, Mike? A brownie a day keeps the doctor away, right? Especially if it's infused. So at least that's what I always say. So definitely worth checking out, you guys. Mike, before we get you out of here, I always like to give my guests the floor. And let them speak on, just something that's important to them or just make some announcements. That's going to be the question we end on here today. So be thinking about that topic before, I got a couple more for you.
Yep.
If Chef for Hire was going to throw a food festival, all right, food, music, weed, all powered by Chef for Hire. This is the Chef for Hire Food Fest. Who's the music performers? Because we're the music guys, and I want to know who you're booking as the festival performers. Okay, and what mainstream brands would you want next to Chef for Hire? You know what I'm saying? Who really helps you create that experience for the perfect Chef for Hire New York Food Festival?
I mean, since I look at food as my alchemy, I would say we get the Alchemist, and and we just do like a nice, he's collabed with so many different people that are in this space, and maybe we get a Larry June, maybe we get a Rock Marciano, a Benny the Butcher,
Oh,
a bunch of folks. Maybe we could get Yasin Bey, my homie Dante, back out here in the States, and just, or Erica Badu, all the people he's collaborated with. I think there's so many different extensions. And
so Alchemy and Friends, Alchemist and Friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Dang, he could realistically, for probably 4 hours a day on both, all 3-day weekend, right? No. He could play 4 hours of music all day, every day, and just let it run and have artists pull up and perform, and it would be the coolest festival.
Yeah, I mean, you think about everybody collaborates with Smokes. Like you just did 2 Chainz and Larry.
Man.
So I think that would be, a great one right there. And then, I think we would just have a different array of food. We could come up with different things like, he did with Freddie Gibbs. They did the Italian joint. They opened a restaurant around that. So why not have like an Italian section?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So then you could just have different areas of culture centric food, right?
Yeah, we'll have some buffalo wings and all kinds of wings because Benny the Butcher and these guys, you know what I'm saying?
That's super cool.
Do a juice bar with Larry June, like there's a bunch of different ways. We'll do seafood with 2 Chainz because he's got a seafood restaurant in Atlanta.
Yes.
And that's the thing is like we want people to understand the only limitation to how you can utilize our products is your imagination.
100%.
We've when we did our supper clubs, we changed every single menu. We never repeated menus because we wanted to see for ourselves. Like it was our test kitchen. Is there anything we can't infuse, right? Like there's got to be a way we could do this and incorporate cannabinoids into this recipe.
You as a chef, I would imagine that you're kind of always, they say cooks in the kitchen, you guys are always being creative. You just described it as, it's alchemy to you, right? Like, what are you cooking up in the future? What's on the horizon for you guys? What have you dreamt up that you're working on? Can you share any information about what's to come the rest of the year and maybe into 2026?
Yep. I mean, for us, we just want to expand our product line out there, put more sauces out there. We have a habanero honey that we want to put back into the market, just and get it into different people's hands. We believe our products, anybody who walks into the dispensary should have our products in their pantry.
Absolutely.
That's
if you are a weed consumer, you should have these items in your pantry and be buying them as gifts for other people like yourself.
Yeah, because think about it, right? You either smoke and go eat or you eat and smoke after. Food is also so like it's a gathering tool, right? You hang out with your friends, you go out to eat, you go and go to this place, that place, you're on vacation. Like food is part of like it's everybody eats every single day unless you're fasting,
Mm-hmm.
But we need it. It's something that's necessary to our survival, and we enjoy food. Right. Yeah. And it's also a great common denominator because of the fact that everybody eats. It's a way to bring people together that might not be together. And then you add cannabinoids to it because everybody has an endocannabinoid system. And it's like, yo, let's have a party. Let's have a real party with us as human beings, as us as these sentient beings and animals on this planet. We're part of nature. This is a gift from nature that really, like I say all the time, we have a symbiotic relationship with this plant, and it has great effects for us from health to relaxation to being able to socialize, to create, help bring our anxiety down. There's so many benefits from this. And we just, again, want people to have a higher understanding of how to participate with it.
Learning how to have a higher understanding with your participation in terms of cannabis, folks. Be sure to reach out, chefforhire.com. I'm Joey J. Ping. This is Hawaii Mike. If you guys want to learn anything more, be sure to reach out to their Instagram. Mike, what's your Instagram?
Chef for Hire.
Easy enough. H-I-G-H-E-R.
Yeah.
Chef for F-O-R-H-I-G-H-E-R. Pun intended, double entendre, triple entendre, all of the entendres, because Mike here really, really put a lot of intention and thought and put a lot of passion into this. He's put the time and energy into building his experience and knowledge and expertise as being a chef and working with food from a whole different perspective than most people in today's world. It's different. And then you think about, incorporating the ability to help other people There's a business element into this. You're in a small category of tinctures, although it is edibles. You're not in the gummy category. So this is where, folks, we wanted to bring Mike on because he deserves the attention. Their products deserve the light. More people should know about this. It is important that we keep these small farms, small kitchens, independent chefs, you name it, flush with opportunities and providing them resources. And so with that said, Mike, I appreciate you so much again. chefforhire.com. Make sure you guys tap in all across New York. Mike, I almost forgot. I was going to, you interrupted me earlier to focus on some real passionate topics there for a second, but we can't forget across New York, name some retailers people can visit to find you. If they land at the airport, there's 2 major airports. Where should they go to buy your product?
I mean, man, we're in about 140 stores right now.
Let's go.
Yeah, so I mean, you got the cannabis.
Anywhere, then you're basically saying there's Chef for Hire everywhere.
Yeah, you can find us. I mean, basically, just hit us. There's a where to buy in our website. You can hit that where to buy. Put your zip code or wherever you're at in the state, and you should be able to find at least a few dispensaries in your region.
Of course. And also, too, folks, these days, if you type in Chef for Hire and the name of the city that you're looking for and maybe add in the word dispensary, which it's asking a lot for you guys to type in 5 words. I understand. I know it's a lot. But if you do that, there's a very strong chance that it will pop up on the menu of a dispensary in that city. Shout out to all the different point of sale companies out there that exist. But the biggest shout out dessert goes to our sponsor, Trees, for this episode. Thank you guys again for powering the RMR Podcast Network. Mike, thank you again. For those of you guys watching, be sure to like, follow, subscribe, talk shit about us, but make sure you guys support Hawaii Mike and the Chef for Hire brand. And we will catch you on the next episode. J Ping, Mike, we out. Love you all. Peace.
Appreciate you.